Welcome back everybody to another Pokémon Crystal tutorial. In this one we're going to be learning how to add more move tutor moves, because at the moment there are only 3 of them, and that just isn't enough really, is it? So we'll be taking this from a completely plain and vanilla Pokémon Crystal disassembly. So if you have made changes, you may notice that things are in a little bit of a different place to what you'd be expecting, but for the most part this tutorial should be universal. Now, the first thing to know is that the move tutor in Generation 2 at the moment is hard-coded to only have 3 moves. So we're going to need to remove that as our first step. Unfortunately for us, this is really quite simple. The first thing we need to do is get a search everything open and get it into your disassemblies folder. You can see here I've got it on screen already. And then we're going to look for engine, events, and then movetutor.asm. And you can see movetutor.asm here. It's quite a big file, but this is the part we are interested in. The get movetutor move. Here you can see it is comparing the different movetutor values for what has been loaded into the script. So we've got Flamethrower, Thunderbolt, and then it defaults to Ice Beam if it's neither of those two. We're going to get rid of all of this, and we are just going to have load wscriptvar into A and then leave. So we can get rid of the Flamethrower and Thunderbolt section of here. Delete that and save, and that's all we've got to do there. But now the Goldenrod City move tutor will be broken for a moment. So we'll go into maps and then goldenrodcity.asm, and we look for the move tutor. He'll be hiding somewhere here. There we go. So we've got .flamethrower, .thunderbolt, and .icebeam. And all we're going to do is remove the move tutor underscore from all of them. So it becomes Flamethrower, Thunderbolt, and Icebeam. And that is all we need to do. And those 2 little edits have now unlocked a huge lot of potential for move tutors in Generation 2. Because now we're not just locked into those 3 moves. But now, in order to add another move tutor move, we're going to need to add it as an item, because a move tutor is ostensibly just a fancy HM in this game. It has an item constant defined because it is technically an item, it's just not an item you get in the bag. So if we go into constants and then item constants and open it up, if we scroll all the way down past the regular items, we can see we have TMs, and we have a little macro to add all of these TMs here. We have the HMs here, and underneath those, we have our move tutor moves. Now you can fit up to 8 move tutor moves in 1 slot of RAM. So we have space for 5 at the moment without needing to worry about moving things around in RAM to make sure your save file is still compatible with an older version of Pokémon Crystal. So, say for instance we wanted to add Payday as a move tutor move for Meowth and Persian, our first step would be to, underneath Ice Beam, add _MT, Payday, and save, and now the game recognises Payday as a move tutor move. From there we need to go into data, Pokemon, and base stats, and we need to look for the Pokemon we want to teach that move to. This will be a slog, because you have to add that move to the end of every single Pokemon's TM and HM learn set. In our instance, it's not going to be too bad, because we're only going to deal with Meowth and Persian. So if we open up Meowth and then we open up Persian as well, at the very end of this TM HM list, we will just add a comma and then Payday. So if we do that, we can then copy it down onto Meowth as well, and save, and now Meowth and Persian will both be able to learn Payday. Or at least they would be able to learn Payday if we had a move tutor in the game that taught Payday. Now, luckily for us, I have done this many times, and I've created a little template to help us create individual move tutors for specific moves, and there will be a link to this down in the description. So this is a very basic template. What it will do is it will create a move tutor who will teach 1 move over and over again for free. It's not like the Goldenrod Move Tutor who charges to teach multiple moves. We'll get onto those a little bit later on, maybe in a separate video. For now, I just want this one to be really, really basic. So the first thing we will do is we will highlight Move Tutor Template here, and we will go and use Find and Replace, and we will replace it with something like Payday Tutor for our purposes. Now all that will do is it will replace 11 occurrences in the file, and that will replace all of them with Payday Tutor so that we have an individual set of text for this tutor. And from there, the most important thing to edit is setVal tutor move on line number 9. This tutor move becomes whatever move you have added as a move tutor move. So in our instance, it's Payday. And if we save that, we now have a Payday move tutor. There is some text down at the bottom here. There are 5 little bits of text, and you can edit those to say whatever the heck you like. At the moment, it is just a very generic bit of text. You can see we've got this move here, and it is just there to show you what you can do with the intro and outro text. But once we have edited this, we need to find a place to put them. So I tell you what, for the sake of ease, we will edit New Bark Town. We know that there's a fisher there in New Bark Town who doesn't have anything special at the moment. So if we find New Bark Town's assembly file, we can see here, if we go right down to the bottom, object events, the middle one here is New Bark Town Fisher script. So if we now find that in New Bark Town's file, you can see at the moment it's just jump text face player, and it's talking about Elm finding a new Pokemon. So what we will do is we will copy all of this script, and we will replace the jump text face player with our Payday Tutor script. Now we've got 2 headers for this. That's absolutely fine. For now we're going to keep both of those, and we will save and we will run a make. So if we now run a make on this, hopefully it will build, and I won't have missed something out on the template like I did last time and had to re-record this section. And of course, do remember, if it's your first make in quite some time, it will take a while to build, and it has now built. So let's now load the game up and see if it has worked. We'll go into New Bark Town here. We will chat with the fisher. You found me, I'm a move tutor, I can teach a powerful move. It's called this move. Want me to teach the move to one of your Pokemon? And we can see that Kit is trying to learn Payday, but can't learn more than 4 moves. And if we just get rid of Double Team, we have a move tutor which has taught Payday to our Persian here. So that really was fairly quite simple. Now, if we go back to our item constants, a little bit earlier I mentioned that there is room for 8 tutor moves at the moment. If we go all the way back down to the tutor moves here, you can see we have now used 4 slots. We have another 4 slots free at the moment before we have to start fiddling with the RAM. But if you do want to add up to 24, including Flamethrower, Thunderbolt and Ice Beam, if you go into RAM and then wram.asm, and then if we have a little search for w-base-tm-hm, you can see here, this is where the number of TMs, HMs and tutor moves are stored. And just below, a few lines later, we have this DS2. And now, if you have between 9 and 16 tutor moves, we can change this to DS1. And then that means that W Morning Counter Rate and down will not be shifted. And then if you have between 17 and 24, delete this line entirely, and then nothing else will shift as well. If you're going above 24, then things get a little bit more complex, because you will have to find a spot with more RAM slots free in order to place it, but that is at least going to give you 24 tutor moves to get you started, which, considering there's only 251 moves in the game, that's almost 10% of moves as tutors already, not including the existing TMs and HMs. Well, there is a way that we can scam the game into teaching those moves to Pokemon that otherwise shouldn't be able to learn it. So the first thing we need to do is we need to add our own slot in RAM. And there is a really nice bit of RAM, which is a really huge spot available for us to add bits in. You can see the CS100 here next to W event flags. When I do any ROM hacking, I always stick my custom RAM slots just below Erin's fight count, just above event flags. And so the first thing we need to do is give this a name. And I think we will go for W Special Tutor Move. Finish off with a double colon and a DB, and then don't forget to reduce the number of free slots available from 100 down to 99. And then give the RAM a save, and then we will go into our Move Tutor template again. It's back to a plain old template, and this time we will highlight Move Tutor template, and we will replace all of them with Surfing Pikachu Tutor. So replace all of them, it should be 11 instances replaced again. We will set the val to Surf this time, and remember, because Surf is a HM already, we don't need to add it to our item constants list. The game will already recognise it as a TM HM tutor move. They're all counted as the same within the game's coding, but now we need to look at this special move tutor area, because we want to tell the game that this is a special move tutor who can teach a move to a Pokemon that otherwise would not be able to learn it. So just above Special Move Tutor, we are going to type load mem, and then W Special Tutor Move. That is what we have here in WRAM, and we are going to do (1), and then afterwards we are going to do exactly the same. So load mem, W Special Tutor Move, but we are going to do (0). So that is loading a flag into RAM just before we run through the Move Tutor script, and then we are unloading that flag when we have left the Move Tutor script. Now, this isn't the most efficient way to do it, but it is one of the easiest to understand, so we will have an entire RAM slot for this, at least for now. And then we do need to tell the game about these special cases. So we need to go into Engine, Items, tmhm2.asm, and we will open it. And now, here is where the game checks to see if a Pokemon can learn a TM, a HM, or a tutor move. So from here, we can manipulate this script in order to give us some special cases. So we will create some space just beneath LDW Curse Species A. So if we then start with LDA, W Special Tutor Move, if we can get the correct capitalization, it should still be on my clipboard somewhere. So now we are loading that flag back into A. We will do A and DA, and then if it is 0, so jump row 0, we will do .normal check, and then we will go to our original part of the script here, and if we're not a special tutor move, we'll just run through the script as normal. Next, we need to load in the move that we are trying to teach. So that is LDA and then W Putative TMHM move. What a complicated word for potential TMHM move. Thank goodness it auto-completes for us there. And we are checking with Surf. So we will do CP Surf, and then we will do JRZ.Pikachu Surf. So what that is saying is if it is Pikachu Surf, we will jump to there. So let's now create a little space for Pikachu Surf. But then before we get to the Pikachu Surf code, we should probably type in some code to let the game know what to do if it's not Pikachu and Surf we are looking for. So we will type in .no_special here, creating a little subroutine, and then we will do LDC0 and RET. Now LDC0 is what happens if a Pokemon cannot learn a move. So that is the failure flag for the learning process for this move. But we want to see if Pikachu can learn the move. So what we will do is we will go LDAW Curse Species, and we will check with Pikachu. To do that, we type CP Pikachu, make sure it's all in capital letters, and then JRNZ, so if it is not Pikachu, we go back to the no special, and then if it is Pikachu, we load 1 into C, that is can learn the move, and then we ret. Unfortunately, the bad thing about Notepad's autofilling is that it sometimes gets a little bit carried away. So 1 is you can learn the move, and 0 is you cannot learn the move. So let's now give this file a save, and we will go back to our Move Tutor template, and we will copy everything that we have done. And for the instance of this tutorial, once again we're going to borrow that fisherman in New Bark Town, and we will replace this entire script with the Surfing Pikachu script. By the way, you can move all of the text down to the bottom of the file where all of the rest of the text lives. I like keeping it together with modifications like this because it's all in one then. But with that, we can go back to our making software, Sigwin for me. We will run a make and we will see if we can get a Pikachu to learn how to surf without having it learn that HM for surf. And that does kind of feel illegal, but we will absolutely roll with it. It has made now, so let us go back to our game screen and we shall see. Does this work? We've got the Move Tutor here. Let's first of all go into our bag and we will check Surf. You can see that Psyduck's able to learn Surf, but Pikachu is not. But now if we talk to the Move Tutor, we will see that the Move Tutor is allowing Pikachu to learn Surf, but not Psyduck. You can see Surf is not compatible with Psyduck there, but we can teach it to our Pikachu. And then you can see we get the special little Pikachu sprite surfing on the water when we surf with our Pikachu. So we've learned quite a fair bit in this tutorial. We've learned how to completely replace the original Move Tutor code in order to add more Move Tutor moves. We've then added a couple of fresh Move Tutor moves, and we've even done a special case for Pikachu learning Surf while not allowing any other Pokemon to learn Surf, and also preventing Pikachu from learning it via the HM. Now, if there are any other special Move Tutor cases or anything else you would like a tutorial about, please do let me know. If this did help you out, please like and leave a comment letting me know it helped you out. Subscribe to see occasional Pokémon Crystal tutorial videos, and I'll catch you all in the next one.